Hey, how are you guys doing today? So today I'm going to do a quick review on a material that I'm going to use to hold down a print and see how it works on a big Modix 120X machine for 3D printing. The material I'm going to use today on the bed is this Nano Polymer Adhesive. Now I tried it once before and it didn't really work very well. So I called out to California and spoke to their customer service, and they said with what I'm doing and how I'm printing it, I really need to go with a much higher bed temperature. Traditionally, the parts that I print aren't the small little 3" by 3" parts that you guys see other reviews on. We're talking about big parts. I mean things that are a couple feet long, parts that could take like a week to print. This one here is a very simple 24-hour print, and it's used Nylon X, which is nylon and carbon fiber. And supposedly, this Nano Polymer Adhesive will work with nylon. But it didn't work before, so I had to go back to using glue sticks, which actually works pretty well. So with this particular print, which makes it a really good test, is when you print this guy, you know, it really needs to get printed like a boat, right? Because if I want to lay this thing down, if you've ever printed the carbon fiber type materials before, then you know that you end up with a whole bunch of ridges on here when you try to take your support material off. And I really don't want that. I wanted it to be a nice, beautiful, shiny exterior, which means that I've got to make sure that this guy has got as little of a part of it touching the surface of the bed as possible. Another reason why I've got to make sure that I find a good material that's going to stick is because some of these parts that I'm printing are really big. I mean, this guy here is 2 feet high, and it's really important that these parts stay flat. And if you think that's big, some of these other parts that I have, these are 4 feet long. And the best way to print these so that I don't end up with some, really bad print is to print them standing straight up and down. And to do that, I've got to find some way to print this guy so it's perfectly flat on the bottom and just like 1.5 inches wide. So this is 1.5 inches wide, almost 4 feet long, and it's perfectly flat. And as you can see, like with Pet G, I can get a really nice low warp print at this point. And I'd like to be able to do the same thing with the Nylon X with this type of print for these large prints. It all comes down to the type of bed that I've got, the heat, and the material I can use to hold this stuff down. The bed I have on here is 2 feet by 4 feet long. And it's a very thick aluminum plate. It gets pretty hot. So we're gonna have to heat this thing up, use this material on here, and see how it comes out. Now, the print that I'm gonna be doing today is a pretty simple print. It's gonna be a lot smaller, so I'm not doing something that's 1 foot long. This is gonna end up being about maybe 6 or 7 inches on my XY plane, probably 6 by 6 or so. And then it's gonna be maybe 4 inches high, 3 or 4 inches high, all right? So we're not talking about a huge print. I'm gonna end up putting put a raft on here, okay? And we're gonna see if this can hold better than just a simple glue stick. Now this bed is already pretty clean, but we're gonna go ahead and clean it again just so I can prove that I actually cleaned it. I've got a nice big jug of isopropyl alcohol here. So here we go. I only need to use one end of my bed. All right, so this is gonna be nice and wiped down. You can see it's shiny in the middle, perfectly clean. All right, now the next key is gonna be putting this stuff on correctly. And according to the directions here that I've got right in front of me, first I gotta clean my build plate, then I gotta apply my adhesive, and the YouTube video they have simply says you're gonna do an X, and then a circle, and then you're gonna spread the stuff out with this little brush here, right? And then you wanna do a couple of times. Okay, so what they say on here is that you wanna do an X right in the area where you're printing, and then a circle on it, right? Then you want to take your brush and you want to coat it nice, smooth it out right in that area, okay? So here we go. So it all smoothed out. Then you want to do a second coat. Now I'm going to assume here again you want to let this dry for a minute or two. All right. So now X, circle. And we're going to do it in the opposite direction. So we did it this way first. Now we're going to do it over here in the opposite direction. Okay. It's all spread out. I'll let that stuff sit for about 1 to 2 minutes, and we're going to crank our temperature up of our heated build plate to right at 110, 108 degrees Celsius right now, except for 110. And with these metal beds, this aluminum bed, it reflects the laser, but I usually like to double check this these days. And as you can see, I'm running right at 108 degrees Celsius. So we're definitely close to 110, and we're gonna fire this thing off and see what happens. All right, we're off, and definitely, well, got a little bit over the blue tape here, but that's not that big of a deal. This is just the our mat anyway, but we are off and running. So now we're gonna close her up and watch. This has failed again. This is pretty much exactly what happened last time. So I'm not saying this stuff doesn't work, but what I'm saying is that it does not seem to work for me. Well, I tried it again. I gave it a second shot, or actually third shot, and it just did not seem to work very well for me. And that's unfortunate because I do print a lot with Nylon X. I do have great success with glue sticks, and sorry it doesn't work. Hopefully at some point maybe they can have some other type of material that would hold down better for that, at least on a metal build plate. If you've had any other thoughts on this, like if you've had success with a metal build plate with this material, or if you've had great success with something else that'll do like parts that I'm doing, then please put those in the comments below. And thanks for watching, and please like my video. Thanks a lot.